So today has been a little rough. And I'm really trying very hard to not have these days or have them as few and far between as I can by using my tools. But I am doing fairly well, but today not so great. So, basic story. There's a couple of details that led up to today. I'm pondering telling you how what the details are, and then this way you can see what little things actually cause a reaction or cause an effect. But some of them, it's just minuscule, kind of like life details, and I'm just not sure. So anyway, didn't wake up in the best mood, mostly financial reasons today, which is a big driving factor for pretty much everyone. Especially, no, I shouldn't say especially for Nick, because that's not true. It's for everyone. But I'm really trying very hard to live a different life than I had. I never didn't have things. Like my mother and my grandmother always made sure that I had. But I know that we struggled. There were times that my mother would send us to the store, and I would go with wraps of pennies or quarters or whatever on top of the food stamps, you know. So I definitely am trying to turn the tables, and I know we are. But anyway, with that being said, I also have the impulse need, like most Americans, like most people, and I think that people with depression, anxiety will tell you that that is sometimes an elevated trigger. Like, sometimes that's an elevated effect of having these things. Now, I'm not saying everyone has the impulse shopping, everyone has that issue. I'm not saying only people with anxiety and depression suffer this issue. What I am saying, though, is that it's an easy relief for us when we are feeling stressed or panicked or like things are not going right. It does give the instant satisfaction that sometimes we can't seem to get for ourselves. Case in point, to explain a little bit about what I know about OCD, someone once said to me a long time ago, OCD is basically you are having some inner conflict and you're having trouble kind of resolving it or working through it. It could be long term, it could be short term, it could be life term. And what OCD does is you're actually OCDing or overthinking or, over straightening or whatever it is because you're actually trying to fix a bigger issue. And the fact is that since you have no control over the bigger issue or feel powerless or it's too hard to take over, you will find a way to do things in your everyday life, like OCD, like straighten a pillow 30 times or a picture frame or whatever it might be, in an attempt to have something that you have control over, because it's obviously much easier to control items, non-living entities. There's no outside circumstance to straightening your picture frame 30 times, except for my purpose, and I'm sure everyone else with OCD, you will straighten that picture frame 30, 40 times, and then depending where you are in the room, because of the angle, that picture frame is still not going to be the way you need it to be. Especially if, like me, you like the accent look of a picture frame being catty-cornered, and then when you move from one place to another in a room, you are fucked. So, I don't know, I'm going a little off topic, but I thought it was important to explain that it came to my realization long ago that when I am even more stressed, my OCD kicks in to a whole nother level, and I am sure that I am trying to manage other things. So, anyway, financial. Oh my god, these videos. My freaking double chin. Anyway, so, woke up this morning, not so great, financially stressed. Josh and I, like many people, suffered for a long time trying to get on our feet. I did not have the tools, maybe the life skills that I needed for money managing. That was never like a 101 in the household. And I definitely have an predisposition to impulse buying. Anyway, with that being said, what will sometimes occur, by the way, which is also attributing and why I say when you have anxiety and depression, the spending is probably more elevated, though people don't believe that, than most, and why a lot of people with these issues wind up in debt, is because when you think of something in your head, like, for example, I decided that we all needed new ponchos because we were using these ponchos that were from Made of the Mist, which is, the trip that you take when you go on the boat in Canada. And I like to have the official equipment. And I, like my mother, who had an entire storage room full of it was a storage closet full of construction paper, tape, like excess supplies, because you always want to be prepared. And you also want to just have it at your fingertips and be that kind of household where your kids could just run in and grab the construction paper. Anyway, I decided that everyone needed ponchos. So I have to pick out the ponchos, and then they have to be certain ponchos, and then if Marissa's getting a certain design, then Johnny needs a certain design, and then my color schemes come into play, and blah, blah, blah. And then also, Johnny and Marissa go out and take out the trash a lot, so now I decided that they need slip-on shoes, and then there's a particular pair that I want for Marissa, but then I have to find something that's comparable in my head for Jonathan. So anyway, that's a whole month of thing. So, I decided that at one point we all needed chairs with umbrellas because I went to soccer and my chairs don't have any umbrellas on them and it was hot. So we had to order 4 umbrellas, and that was another color coordination thing. And I have to have these things. It's not a, I'd like to have that, or, let's be logical and reasonable and I shouldn't buy that right now. In those moments, they are enhancing this picture in my life of us having everything very well rounded. So that's that. So this morning, a lot of stress about me not being as logical as I should be with the gifts that I'm given. And again, way better than I used to be, but today it hit me pretty hard. So that's kicked off my day. With that being said, I decided to winterize my yard myself, which I've done before, but this time I was going to pay someone to do so because there are some really major things that have to be done. And I already spent so much money on my yard this year on problems and projects, or projects and problems, that I decided to go start this endeavor myself, which I'm annoyed as hell about. It's 4 something in the afternoon on a school day. There's homework to do. There's cooking to do. I would like to relax. I'm tired, and I'm crawling under the house, and I don't know what's under there about bugs and creepy crawlies, and I'm just annoyed, and I'm doing this to save money. So, because this morning I woke up to, having a crisis mode about money. In the meantime, it's the same situation that's been going on forever, but today, for some reason, it was like my stock market crashed in my head. Because sometimes you'll just all of a sudden oh my God, the end of the world, even though it's really not. But so this morning I decided I had to do everything on my own, and I had to save this money and blah, blah, blah. So I get under the house, and I literally have rocks and stones so big and heavy, I have to get a dolly to move them to the front of the house. And I'm a very independent person, so I'm rolling them around, and they're kind of like hitting the floor, and they're hitting my foot. And as much as I'm doing it, I'm angry that I have to do it, but I'm doing it because I have to keep this picture perfect, whatever. But that's not really true. That's totally the wrong way to say it. It's more like I want to have this certain life. It's not that I have to have. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses, but I enjoy my life, and part of enjoying it is having things done a certain way. I want to put my patio furniture that I just got this year for my new porch under the house. So it's a have to do. Anyway, I go to clean something else out, and we had rats in Dumont at one point, and we definitely had them here before I got all the new garbage pails, which was another OCD moment because we had rats at one point. So I had to get an exterminator and buy all brand new pails, and I had to buy very expensive pails because that's what I had to do. So anyway, I see a big dead rat out in the yard. Now everything is completely shut down for me. I'm completely startled. I have to drop everything I'm doing. That is going to totally throw me off because I have this plan and I'm very overwhelmed with what has to be done in the yard before the winter comes to begin with. All the patio stuff has to go away. All the chairs have to go away. And now, obviously, I do not want to do any of these things because that happened and it freaked me out. And I came back in the house and I felt like I was going to throw up several times. So now we go to where we are now. Trying to put dinner together. Also unpack the groceries that I bought today. And the tapping starts. So I guess this is where we're at. So this is the prologue to the tapping. Every item that I put away when I am in this stressed state of mind. This is why when a person has anxiety, sometimes they let their house go to shit. Because every single item I touch, I'm just demonstrating now, obviously, but I want to tap it. I want to straighten it. If one thing doesn't look straight, that bothers me. These things, tapping, I'm not even showing you what I'm doing. These things here are never straight. My cabinets suck. So I'm here OCDing irrelevant things. And I'll do this probably for another 15-20 minutes. Which here lies the problem. This is why people with depression and anxiety can't seem to fucking get anywhere.